Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's review we're going to be talking a bit about God Eater 3. Now I'm going to have to admit I've never played any of the previous God Eater games. I believe there's like 3 or 4 of them out there, and a lot of people compare this series to Monster Hunter. So Monster Hunter World, which was the last one, I think. I have never played really Monster Hunter either, but I did have the same problem at the start of this game as I did with the last Monster Hunter, and I almost committed the same crime. So with the last Monster Hunter game, I played for about an hour and I was like, you know what, I don't really like this game. And that happened with this game as well. I played for about an hour and I was like, I don't know, it's just all combat, no exploration, nothing like that, I don't know. But then I looked back and thought, I didn't really give Monster Hunter a chance, and everybody after that said it was an amazing game, so maybe I should just give this game a chance. And I'm kind of glad I did now. Like, it's not the best game in the world, but I'm definitely glad I gave it a chance. Like I said, like, the reason I didn't give or wasn't going to give this game a chance, or the reason I didn't give Monster Hunter a chance, was because there's no exploration in this game. And I really am into exploration in video games, I guess. It's one of my hard points, I guess. But there's like no exploration in this game. Anybody that's played God Eater before knows it's a pure combat game. The game is basically divided into missions, which are closed arenas with maybe a boss, not always a boss, maybe some enemies, boss, kill this, and then it's over. Like, there's no other objectives in this game except kill, 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 and kill. There's that, and then there's a hub area where you can accept the missions, customize your loadout, advance through the story if you're playing the story mode, and that's literally all this game is. And I got bored at the start, especially at the start of this game, because the first few missions are literally just kill like 5 really weak enemies and then go back to base and then talk again, maybe advance a tiny bit through the story, which isn't a bad story, I guess. Like, it's not the worst story in the world. I know that I haven't played the other ones, but I can kind of get a hang of this one without playing the other ones, at least I think so. But yeah, you just advance maybe a bit through the story, talk to a few teammates, so the next mission activates, you talk to whoever you have to talk to activate the next mission, you go in, kill a few enemies, come back out, and that's pretty much all this game was, especially at the start. But I'm glad I gave it a chance, because after maybe you probably about 10th quarter away through the game or something like that, you start to get bosses in pretty much every battle or every mission, and that's when the game gets kind of challenging. I mean, it's not the hardest game in the world, but it kind of gets a bit more challenging, and it gets a lot of fun, especially with the mini bosses and the bosses which later on you pretty much encounter in every single mission. And that's where I started to actually enjoy this game and start to look forward to the next mission. But so a lot of things we have to talk about, good things and bad things. This game is definitely not for everybody. Like, if you're into exploring just a little bit, this game's not for you. Like, literally, like we said, it's a nexus to go into battles and back to the nexus, and that's it, as you follow a story, obviously. So let's talk about the nexus before we get into the actual combat, because like I said, combat's like 95% of this game. The other 5% is whatever you do in the hub area, or nexus, or whatever you want to call it. It's not actually called nexus in this game. But in the hub area, you can change your loadout, upgrade your weapons, modify your members' abilities. Like, there is a lot of modifying in this game. Like, literally whatever's not combat is modifying. And this is where you can start to tell that they put all their effort into the combat system instead of like other things in other normal games, I guess. And they actually did an extremely good job. Maybe even went a bit over the top with the customization. Like, you can literally create whatever bullets you want for your gun. I mean, there's just a ridiculous amount of things, and that's cool. It's really interesting to just go through everything and get your perfect loadout for the perfect battle. Even though at least on the story side of things, there isn't any battle that was like, oh god, what loadout do I do? I need to strategically go through like my loadout and get the perfect loadout to beat this boss. Like, there was never that moment where it was that difficult. But On the multiplayer side of things, it's a bit different, but we'll talk about the multiplayer a bit later on. The other problem I have with like all these different loadouts and different weapons and different upgrades and different whatever, like there's a huge expansion of things, but they're not all unique enough. I think this happens on a lot of games when there's like a lot of customization, a lot of variants of weapons and stuff. It's not like one thing's not that incredibly unique compared to the other things. Sure, you've got all your different weapon classes, which are pretty unique. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. I personally have been playing most of the game with the scythe, which is a really fast, kind of long range kind of thing. Talking about range, every single weapon can transform into a type of gun as well, which is something that I really don't get the point of. I mean, it's probably because I'm new to this game, but I literally didn't use the gun a single time. Like, I mean, I probably used it just to have a bit of difference in the battle or something. I don't know. But there was never a moment where I was like, oh god, I need to use my gun now. Like, there was just never that. But, you know, a lot of customization. You can literally spend hours and hours in this menu before each mission. And I guess also before we hop into the combat, we will talk about character customization. Now, there's a lot of, like, all the characters look really, really cool, and there's a lot of customization to go along with, very anime kind of style. And I think all the characters, like, you probably can't make an ugly character on this game for whatever reason. But out of like the 10 online multiplayer games that I played, not a single male character has appeared. Like, do the female characters really look that much better than the male characters on this game? Like, it is insane. Like, there's 8 people online at the same time in every match, and not once have I seen a male character. And you know, I'm also on this boat. I made a female character as well. I just think they look a lot cooler than the male characters on this game. But we're probably getting a bit too picky at the moment. But like I said, we'll go back to the multiplayer a bit later on. Let's go into the actual combat. So when you're not in the Nexus, you're doing a mission. And basically what a mission is an arena with its hallways and its healing points. There's also all materials around the map that you can randomly pick up to get better upgrades. At the end of the battle, you get maybe blueprints. Depending how well you've done, you can use these blueprints to upgrade the weapon you're using. There's like a lot of customization. But yeah, as for the actual enemies, though the arena isn't that big, I feel like it's too big. Like, it isn't big, but it's just too big for, not like as an inconvenience, but completely the other way around. Like, you never end up seeing most of the arena. Like, maybe the boss or the enemy you're after will probably run about trying to escape to a healing point maybe once or twice in a battle, but it's never that point where you've seen the whole arena. And I think it's maybe a bit too big, because it's not like, sure, okay, you can explore in the middle of a combat if you want to go around picking up the random materials or whatever around the arena, which is basically all the exploring you're going to be doing, because there is no exploring, it's just material pickups. But like, if you actually kill the enemies or the boss, you can't just freely roam around that arena. You have to do it in the middle of combat. They, like, once you beat the boss or the enemy, they'll give you like 30 seconds to roam around before you're automatically placed back at the hub area. So I don't know, I think the arenas are a bit too big for what they're used for, I guess. But you know, that's not a big deal. Let's talk about the actual combat. So there's obviously, apart from all the customization, there are a lot of different types of abilities. You've got your engages, where you, if you stay close to a teammate for a certain amount of time, you can use a special passive with that teammate. Obviously, all this is customizable in the hub area, where you can choose which ability each teammate gets for these special engages. You've got the rage burst. You've just got a whole ton of things, which all these abilities you customize back at the hub area. Now, it's all cool and all that, but I feel like most of all these different type of abilities are all, not all of them, but like the big majority of them are just passive abilities, and you still end up pressing like square and triangle to attack, but like passively all these other things will come into play. but really it just feels like you're still pressing those 2 buttons to attack no matter what. Obviously you got to press like this special R2, R2, L2 to activate the teammates engage and all that. You've got to move around with circle to dodge. There's like, I'm not saying like the actual combat is bad, it just feels like there's so many abilities, but yet you still only really press 2 buttons. Most of them are active passives. But you know, the combat is really cool looking. I mean, it's really fast paced and it's kind of a challenge. It's like, it feels really smooth as well. Pressing circle to dodge. You've got to be careful of your stamina. It's a good battle system, but I just don't like the fact that there's too many passives. Like, everything feels passive. There's no like amazingly cool ultimate that looks like a massive lightning bolt coming from the sky, or Kamehameha across the map, or anything like that. You know, it does look spectacular and fast, but it could look so much more spectacular, because like the bosses, some of the bigger bosses have some really cool looking attacks, and I feel like maybe some of the characters could do with that kind of attack. That's probably my only complaint, but you know, it's more than, it feels like one of those games where it's 50% done in combat and 50% done back at, like, half of the battle's already won when you leave the hub area, depending on your setup. Kind of feels like that type of game. But yeah, I don't know, I don't think I've really got any more complaints about the battle system. It's really cool. The soundtrack on some of the bosses is like really cool. It just makes the game just look amazingly colorful sometimes, fast paced. Just the sound effects, the soundtrack on like some of the really main bosses, it's just really cool, and it's just a cool experience. And it's definitely, like I said, even though I've never really been into games that don't really have exploration, it's just 100% battle, I kind of like, there was a point where I was like looking forward to the next battle. It's just fun. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It's fun. Though I do feel like a lot of people will probably end up getting bored of doing the same thing over and over again. But that is where the multiplayer steps in. Now, I think this is, or at least this is the feeling that I got after completing the story. I feel like this is a game that the story is kind of like a big tutorial for the online mode. Like, you've got 2 online modes. You've got the co-op, where you can join somebody else's world, or somebody get to join your world, 4 players or 3 plus you, and do all the story missions. But there's also this other cool mode where it's called assault missions, which are like special missions just for multiplayer, and it's 8 players, and you get the cool soundtracks and this like incredibly strong monsters. Maybe you've got to kill this really tough boss in 5 minutes, and there's like 8 of you just dodging around, launching special attacks at this incredibly strong enemy, and it just looks amazing with the soundtrack and everything, all these special effects going off. And the game handles it really well. The graphics aren't amazing, especially in some of the environments, but the character models and the effects from the attacks just look really good. And like, this is definitely the most fun I had in this game. On the 8-player special assault missions with these really tough, this 8 of you just going ham on this poor little boss, which probably ends up killing all of you, but you know, whatever. And it's definitely the most fun. It just feels like the story is kind of like a big tutorial for this. Obviously you get to use your own character for these online missions as you go, and yeah, that's definitely the most fun I had in this game. It's just a lot of fun. Like, although most of the customizable things aren't unique enough to actually matter, it is just a lot of fun. The combat system, especially when you're with like 7 other people just wrecking or trying to wreck this enemy. And yeah, I think that's really all I've got to say. If I had to give this a score from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it 7.5. But it's just a really fun game, but I don't think it's for everybody. Like I said, if you're into like combat and don't mind fighting over and over, if you're into other battle games or maybe Monster Hunter, then you definitely have a lot of fun in this game. But if you're into big adventures and stuff like that, JRPGs, maybe, you know, other things like that, then I don't think this is the game for you. But you never know, maybe you're like me, you never really gave Monster Hunter a chance or any game like this, got bored at the start, and maybe if you spend a few hours in it, it kind of gets interesting. I definitely will be picking up future games like this and giving them a chance. So yeah guys, thanks for watching, and yeah, hopefully it's helpful. If it was, please go like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time guys.